All right, guys, welcome back. It's Nick Cbet. We are in Austin, Texas right now. This session is a 1-2 up at the Lodge, Roundrock Texas, 20 minutes north of here. It's been a while. I've been working on a new channel. I'm excited to release that to you guys. It is not a poker channel, but I take much more joy in filming this new one, and I just can't wait to get it out to you guys. I do hope to continue having these trickle up in their intensity as far as how many I'm releasing here soon, now that I kind of got both channels organized. But yeah, just a 1-2 session. You're gonna have to wait and see if it's a good or bad one. There are some folds that I make in there that are kind of bigger. Why don't you tell me if they're good or bad? I'd like to hear some feedback on them, and it seems like pocket queens are a spot that I'm not super confident in. So tell me what you think. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
First hand finds us in the low jack and it folds to us, and we peek down at black pocket nines. We open to $10. The cutoff, button, small blind, and big blind all call, so we're going to see a flop 5 ways. The dealer rips out a 9 of diamonds, 8 of hearts, and 3 of spades. We flop top set in a multi-way pot, so we're hoping for some action here, as there are a lot of ranges that'll have some decent straight draws. It checks to us, and we throw out a continuation bet of $20, but unfortunately for us, everyone folds. Now we're under the gun 1, and we look down at 10 jack offsuit, and we open to $10. We're only doing this because I can already see this table won't be 3-betting often, so we widen our open range. Low jack calls, so it's heads up to the flop of 7-7-8 rainbow. We check, and he bets $15. We make the call, hoping to hit a 9, 10, or a jack on the turn, as he's not going to have a ton of 7s in his range here. The turn brings no help, as the 4 of hearts drops onto the table. We check once again, and he bets $25, and we think for a few seconds before making a quick fold. This hand, someone gets out-flopped. Is it us or our villain? We're settling into the small blind now when we see the low jack raised to $17. The button calls, and we make the call, and so we're off to the races. And the results come in. Ace of hearts, 9 of spades, and 7 of spades. We check, and the original raiser checks, and the button fires out a bet of $25. Holding a decent ace here, we're going to try to deny some equity if they're trying to build a pot with a flush draw, weaker ace, or some combo draw. So we put in a raise to $75. The low jack gets out of the way, and the button thinks for a few seconds before announcing all in. We know this player, and he's not one to overvalue draws, even though he knows I'm an aggressive player. I don't think he's going to be making this move with a bluff here often. We go through a few hands he could be doing this with, and we're not beating many of them. After mulling it over, we toss in a fold. He tells us we called out his hand right away and shows us 9-7 of diamonds for 2 pair. About 20 minutes later, we're now under the gun holding 8-6 of hearts. We raise it to $12, and it folds around to the big blind, who makes the call. The flop comes out a favorable 6 of clubs, 3 of hearts, and 7 of clubs. He checks, and we fire out a bet of $15. He calls, bringing in the turn, which comes a 5 of spades. He checks once again, and being that he's a pretty solid player, I don't see him ever calling my under the gun raise with 4, 8, or 4-2. There's just no way he hit a straight draw here on the turn. So we feel confident firing again, this time for $55. He shows us queen 10 of clubs and throws his hand in the muck. Equity denied. We're in the hijack now, and we watch one person in middle position limp in, and when it gets to us, we look down at ace of hearts, queen of spades. We put in an easy raise of $12. The cutoff calls, and we go to the flop heads up. The dealer puts out a nasty flop of 6 of hearts, 7 of clubs, and 8 of clubs. We whiff this one completely. Out of position, we're forced to check, and the cutoff bets $15. We only have high pair potential, which may already be smoked, even if we do get there, as any high pair could also bring in the flush, and we're not holding any clubs, so we let this one go quickly, hoping to find some better spots. We have a little all-in coming up here. This is a fun little hand. We're now on the cutoff, and we watch low jack raise it to $12. The hijack makes a quick call, and we look down at ace of diamonds, king of diamonds. What a great little spot we have here. We put in a raise to $40. Being that we're in position with the monster, facing a raise and a call already, so we're going to try to build a pot right now. Possibly do some isolation too. As soon as we get our chips in the middle, the button quickly jams for around $120. The low jack and hijack quickly fold, and we put in a call, and he tells us he has 2 5s. as he flips over his fives. We quickly show him our ace king and elect to run it once. The flop comes out, 8 of clubs, king of spades, and 2 of clubs. We need to dodge 1 of 2 fives here to take this one down. The turn brings him no help when it comes to jack of spades, and the river peels out a 6 of spades. We finally take down a nice little pot. We're feeling a bit better after taking one down, and now we're under the gun and we look down at ace queen offsuit. We put in a raise to $10. Under the gun 1 calls, and so does the low jack, so we're going 3 ways to the flop, which comes out 10 of spades, 10 of clubs, and 6 of clubs. Besides that last hand, it looks like we're just not connecting with much. We check, as does under the gun 1, and low jack throws out a bet of $20. We call, and so does under the gun 1. Turn comes a 5 of diamonds, and it checks once again to low jack, who once again throws out a bet of $35. We have a quick and easy fold here, which is exactly what we do, as does under the gun 1. We're now on the button. We watch it fold to low jack, who raises it to $12. We peel up our cards and see king of diamonds and deuce of diamonds. The blind hasn't been 3-betting at all, so we elect to make a call here to see a flop in position against a really tight player. After we throw in our call, the small blind and big blind both elect to call as well. We're going to the flop 4 ways. It comes out queen of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, and 5 of hearts. They check it to us, and we elect to check as well. We want to use our aggressive table image here. We haven't been super aggressive this session, but they know me as an aggressive player overall. Most of the time, I'll be betting my flush draws in position, so I'm hoping to extract value if we hit it on the turn by not betting. The turn comes a beautiful ace of diamonds. The feeling you get when you hit the nut flush will never get old. We once again get checked to, and we bet $30. The small blind calls, and the big blind and hijack both get out of the way with the fold. The river is a 2 of spades. He checks again, and we size a bet up to $80, push it in the middle, and he snap folds. I think we needed another diamond to hit the river to extract any more value out of him. We're now on the cutoff, and we watch under the gun raise to $7. It gets to us, and we peel up the cards to see a queen of hearts and 10 of hearts. We call, and the button comes along as well. The 3 of us watch the flop come out, revealing a king of hearts, a 10 of spades, and an 8 of spades. Under the gun leads for $15. Both of us call to see a turn which comes a 9 of hearts. This is a good card for us, as we're blocking straights, and it increases our equity to the backdoor flush. It checks to us, and we put out a bet of $25. And then the button does something unexpected. He jams for 126. We have a lot of equity here, but the odds just aren't there to justify another $101 to call. We tank for a little bit before coming to that decision and folding. He later says he made a nice hand, but not the nuts. Nice hand, DZ. It was a pleasure meeting you and playing with you. We go on break and hit up some tacos. We ended this session completely, as we didn't get deep enough to warrant paying time to be away from the table to preserve a bigger stack than what I can just buy in for when we return. So this half of the session was 2 hours and 21 minutes long, and we lost $389, bringing our hourly rate to negative $165.53. Not a great one. Feeling full, we watch it fold to the low jack, who limps in, and then it folds to us on the cutoff. We look down at our first hand, ace of spades and queen of clubs. We raise it to $12. It folds around to under the gun 1, who calls, and then the hijack, who makes the call as well. We go 3 ways to the flop, which comes 9 of clubs, 8 of clubs, and 2 of spades. This flop completely misses us again and just smacks their calling range. It checks to us, and we are forced to check as well. The turn comes a jack of clubs, and we're blocking queen 10 for a straight, and we just picked up another backdoor flush draw. It checks again to us, and we fire a bet of $15. Under the gun calls, and the low jack raises to 60. He's raising it to 2 others who just bet and called, and there's just nothing we're beating here, so we opt to just let it go. If we were deep enough, we could flat call and hope for another club, and then apply some pressure at the end, but it's just not worth it at $300 deep. A few hands later, and we're in the low jack. Under the gun limps in, and we raise it to $12 after we look down at queen of hearts and 3 of hearts. This is obviously a really loose raise, but these early position limps are just targets for in-position aggression. He elects to call, and we go to a flop heads up. It comes king of clubs, jack of diamonds, and 7 of spades. He checks, and we continuation bet to $15, and he makes the call. The turn is a 10 of diamonds. He checks again, and we fire again for $50, and he makes a quick fold, and we take down a small one with pretty much air. That's what I meant for in-position aggression with those limps. The board is just so connected. He's never going to have anything that hits that board hard, being that he limped in early position. One whole rotation later, and we're in the low jack once again. We look down at ace-queen offsuit and make a quick raise to $12. It folds to the button, who jams for $115. We talk with him and tell him we have a decent hand and just banter bit back and forth, showing him ace-queen and folding. He shows us pocket nines and laughs. Poker's way more fun when you're making it fun. Some tables are so serious, and it's my goal to immediately get some people laughing and to lighten the mood. I can play and think better when I'm having a good time. There's a $5 straddle on now, and there is one limper before it makes it to us. We look down at pocket sevens. We just complete the straddle here. I like limping hands like these in certain situations. It gives us a ton of playability if we do hit our sets, and we're out of position anyways, so I'm not trying to blow the pot with sevens. The straddler checks, and the flop rips out. King of spades, king of clubs, and seven of clubs. Boy, do we smack this one. We check, and the big blind bets $10. Hijack calls, and we raise to $35. We're hoping to get value from any king in this spot, but unfortunately for us, they both fold. We flop a boat and basically get the minimum. I guess that's just how this session's going today. Once again, there's a $5 straddle on and one limper before us. We look down at ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, and we raise it up to $25. The straddler and limper both call, so it's three ways to the flop. It comes king of hearts, queen of spades, and jack of diamonds. We flop the nut straight. It checks around, and the turn's the king of diamonds. Not the best card for us to see, but we can't allow it to check through again, so when it does check to us, we fire out a bet of $50. Unfortunately, we get two quick folds and take down the pot right then and there. It could have got dicey depending on the river, so we're not complaining about an easy win here. A whole hour goes by before we get another playable hand, and it's on the button. There are three limpers before us, and we take a peek at ace-queen offsuit. We raise to $15. The big blind comes along for the ride, and the flop comes king of diamonds, jack of clubs, and three of spades. He checks to us, and we bet another $15. He makes a quick fold, and it looks like we're going to be winning the small ones and losing the big ones here. A handful of hands, get it? Handful? A handful of hands later, and we're now in the hijack. We watch two players limp in, and we look down to reveal pocket eights. We cut a raise of $15 and get it across the betting line. The button, big blind, and low jack all call. I think every flop is going to be multi-way basically. It comes out ace of spades, five of hearts, and four of diamonds. The low jack leads out for $20, and he only has about $80 left behind him. Since he's not deep at all, we make a quick fold. The money is just not there to peel another one, and the rest of the table folds as well. There's a $5 straddle on, and the first to act after the straddler raises to $25. He is a tight player, and this is a big raise for him. It folds around to us, and we look down at pocket queens. Do we 3-bet now or flat and hope to smack a queen? We elect to just flat call here. It comes off as a capped range and puts us in a good position if we get a favorable flop. The big blind comes along as well, so we're going to the flop three ways. The flop comes out 9, 7, 6, rainbow. We check it to the big blind, who also elects to check it as well. The original raiser then bets $55. We don't see a reason to raise here, so we just put in a call, and the big blind does something unexpected and jams for $213. I go into the tank. These queen hands are something I need to look into. We obviously have an overpair, but what would someone be jamming into two players who already bet and called a substantial size bet with? She is also a competent enough player to know that we already have 25% of the bet in there. I mull it over and realize it's tight, but possibly a good fold the vast majority of time. She has all the 8-10 suited, all the sets, all the two pairs. We just don't beat much except an extremely ambitious draw, which I think would be flat calling and folding if she didn't hit it. So we let it go. What do you guys think? Was this a mistake? Let me know in the comments below. We could just be stacking off, and if she's got it, she's got it. Or we could make some disciplined folds. What are your thoughts? We're in the hijack now. We watch one player limp in, and we look down at 9 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds. We raise to $15, and we get a few callers. The button, the small blind, the big blind, and the low jack all call. The flop comes 9, 7, 2, rainbow. We slap this flop, or this flop slaps. It checks to us, and we make a $30 Cbet. The button and small blind both call, and the turn brings us 6 of diamonds. The big blind checks and we jam for $170. We unfortunately get 2 quick folds. We're back in the hijack for our next hand. We watch under the gun raise to $15 and literally every player after him calls. We look down at pocket 4s. We make the call, as does everyone else. The flop comes a beautiful ace, 2, 3. It checks all the way around to us, and since we're holding half of the 4s in the deck, we could easily have 4 or 5 here. So we fire out a bet of $50. It folds to under the gun, who is the original raiser, and he just flat calls, which brings the turn. A beautiful 6 of hearts. It kind of changes nothing for our story. He checks once again to us, and we continue our story and push $150 into the middle of the table. He tanks for a while, and in the time we're hoping for a fold, he starts fogging up his glasses because he has a mask on and he's breathing really heavily, looking back and forth at the board and then us. We're dead still. We see the classic pissed off head shake, and he folds his hand. I think we got ace king or possibly even aces to fold here. He's a pretty tight but intelligent player and knows we could easily have every 4 or 5 here. We get a solid semi-bluff through and build some momentum for the next few hands. Good things come in threes as we're in the hijack once again. We watch under the gun raise to $10. Under the gun 1 calls and the rest of the table folds to us, and we look down at pocket queens. We make a sneaky call too, as it's multi-way, so we want to play this a bit more passive and bring in some weaker ranges and hopefully leverage some run good. The button does the most perfect thing for us and raises it to $30. We're not folding here, as we're ready to get it in against our shallow stack, but we just opt to call with the jam on standby. The flop comes jack of spades, 6 of spades, and 3 of diamonds. Perfect. It checks to us, and we check to allow the 3-better to get some more money in, and she obliges with a $120 bet. It folds to us, and we flat call. The turn is a 9 of spades, completing the flush draw. We check, she checks, and she's going to be checking back her flush draws that are nutted and firing her flush draws that are vulnerable to another spade. So that check either means we're smoked or she needs some help. The river is another 9. I think we're good here, and she has less than a half pot size bet left to call with, so we're just going to get it in as we don't see her folding any top pairs. We announce all in, and she slowly stacks her chips and pushes them in, and we table our queens. And she says, "I thought you might have a monster." Gives us a look and mucks her cards. Indeed we did. Indeed we did. We're sitting in the small blind now, and it limps to us. We look down at queen 10 offsuit, and we complete the blind as well. We're going 5 ways to the flop, which comes queen, jack, 7, rainbow. We check, and it gets to the hijack, who throws out a bet of $15. Cutoff and button both call, and we go ahead and call as well. The turn comes a 2 of hearts, and it checks around. The river peels a 4 of diamonds. This is our cue to lead for value, and that's exactly what we do in the form of a $20 value bet. The button makes the call, and we quickly show our top pair, and he quickly mucks his hand, and we take down another little one. There's a $5 straddle on, and we wake up in the low jack. Under the straddler calls the $5, and we take a little peek at red 7s. We re-raise it to $25 and get 2 callers. The flop comes king, jack, jack, rainbow. It checks around, and the turn hits the table, and it's nothing other than the 7 of clubs. It checks to me, and we bet $50, hoping someone slow played a jack or is a non-believer holding a king. We get exactly that as the straddler jams for $70-ish. We snap call and show our boat immediately, and we get a quick muck from the villain. We take down another one for our last hand of the evening. We're in the big blind for our last hand, but since I was chatting it up with others, I didn't hit the record button until the flop already ripped out. So here's the action. Under the gun raised to $11, and we have 3 callers before us. We look down at 10-8 of spades, and we make the call as well. We're sitting in the big blind. Off to the flop 5 ways, it comes 2 of spades, 2 of clubs, and 7 of spades. It checks around, and the turn brings a 9 of spades. We complete our flush. It checks to us, and we lead for $10. Under the gun calls, as does under the gun 1. So it's 3 ways to the river, which comes ace of diamonds. This is a perfect card for any 2 pairs to be hitting. So we fire again for $25. Under the gun folds, and under the gun 1 makes a repulse call. We table our flush, and he mucks his hand. We win the last hand of the night before racking up. We came back to claw our way out of the hole we got in before the dinner break. We'll just have to see what the cage gives us for the final cash out.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 63.
Perfect.
$163.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Stay until 5 a.m.
All right, that was a session. Pretty non-eventful. Didn't run real hot, didn't run super cold or any like bad beats, I don't think. Pretty neutral. It was not like the other sessions. Again, there's a lot of sessions that I filmed that were just uneventful, and I'm gonna add those to the mix. They're still in the queue. I'm not just filming sessions and only keeping the crazy ones. That was 6 hours of pretty much nothing, and that's fairly typical of what it's like to play poker full time. There's a lot of boredom involved. Luckily, in live poker, you get to banter and have some fun, and you can kind of mix it up and change things up, and at least entertain yourself when the cards are not going your way or you're just card dead. And that's what we try to do during those times, and at the same time also stay focused. But I hope you liked that one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd like to hear some feedback on those hands that I talked to you earlier about, if you thought they were good folds or not. And if they weren't, say so, and your reasoning behind it. I don't mind at all. But yeah, like and subscribe. It helped me a lot. Thanks, guys. See you soon.